Welcome to the OAPN Podcast with your host, Adarsh Sakare. No bullshit, no cuts, 100% raw conversations with 0% fucks to give. We don't encourage the consumption of alcohol, but if you want to open up a cold one while you watch this, it's not a bad idea.
Welcome to episode number 52 of On a Personal Note with Adarsh Sakare. We are happy to get into the 50s now. On the last episode, we had one of the most charming and most infectiously positive, if I may say, Aviva Bidappa. I hope you liked that episode. We definitely loved meeting her. Today we have another person here, and before we speak more about him, let's welcome Ahan Swamy. Hi, Ahan.
Hi, Adarsh. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you here, man. It's nice to see the content you've been making.
Thank
but
you.
before we start the conversation, a little context to whoever's watching. So we came across Ahan's profile very recently. We found the content to be very catchy, and the type of content was it. To be very fair to you, when we saw your content, we understood that there's a lot of research that's going behind it. It's not something where you're just picking up your phone and, just going and shooting it and going and putting it up online. So there's a good amount of effort that he's been putting behind his content. So we definitely wanted to understand what's the mindset he's on. And content creation in itself has become so integral today, and we want to be a platform where we can have as many creators as possible come here and share their thought process. And if you've seen Ahan's page before, great. This is an opportunity for you to get to know him better. If you haven't seen him, I would definitely recommend you have a look at his page and then land up here to know more about him. So Ahan, how's life? How are things going?
Life is nice, actually. I mean, I'm not going to say it's good. Everyone comes and says life is great. It's not good. It's nice. There are ups and downs, obviously. But overall, it's nice. It's been a nice vibe the last few months. There have been a lot of learnings, a lot of exploration, growth. But yeah, overall, it's been nice. It's been fine. Going nice. What about you? How has your life been?
Man, I think we're pretty much on the same boat. As life goes on, I've realized that the higher you try to jump, and possibly you'll get there, the lower you'll fall as well. You're right. It's like the curves only get bigger.
Yeah.
You always think that you come to this point in life where you're only having this growth phase, but the reality is the more you grow, the more you fall as well.
Yeah.
And that's just been the reality for me that I've realized.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because the more I'm achieving as well, the more I'm falling as well.
Yeah.
I'm getting hit that badly in certain places as well. So yeah, that's how things have been for me, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's all phases. I mean, I look up to Virat Kohli a lot.
Okay.
And he speaks about this a lot, about how everything is a phase. Nothing is permanent.
Yeah.
So you've just got to roll with it, I guess. And I never understood it 3-4 years ago. But now, as you know, I've slowly grown a little older, not a teenager anymore. So
How old are you now?
I'm 23.
23.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
So I've also learned a little bit. I mean, I'm still relatively young. I'm not that old as well. But so my biggest learning has been everything is a phase. So you might feel a little stressed now, but you will look back at it as with a little bit of nostalgia in the days coming by. So just roll with it and keep going. That's all.
Awesome. So I have a few questions definitely on my mind that I want to talk about with you. And this is something I spoke about, right, recently. So you spoke on your story that you were someone who wasn't out there. Maybe you were not an extrovert. Maybe you hadn't explored your creative or your talented side back in school. That's pretty much my first question. Like, how are you back in school, and how did the transition from that towards getting in front of the camera and making this content happen? What pushed you to make that transition?
So I was someone who never felt talented in anything.
Okay.
I wasn't great at studies. Like I was smart. I was intelligent. I would pick up concepts well. And when I studied, like I got decent marks, but I was never, the topper, the bright student, breaking academic barriers, any of that. Sports also, I wasn't the best. I enjoyed cricket. I still do. I played cricket in an academy, all of that. Went for the coaching. Did decently well, but I was never this exceptionally talented prodigy.
Okay.
Then afterwards, when I went into 11th and 12th, I kind of had this phase where I was like, studies isn't my thing.
Okay.
Cricket, I gave up because I was like, what's the point of playing now? You're 16. I mean, there's so many people actually who are talented, who are doing well. You're in this space now, so let's just leave it.
Okay.
So I actually had a phase where I was very, jobless in 11th and 12th. And so all I did was roam around with my friends on the roads. I enjoyed that phase a lot, but
Yeah.
I was never a person of my own.
Yeah.
And I was like, and that didn't, put like a huge dent in my confidence. But at the same time, I didn't have any self-confidence. Okay,
Yeah.
I have this to my name.
Yeah.
Then after 12th, I realized, okay, I need to do something with my life. Let's start somewhere. I was passionate about physics, so I chose physics. But then I wanted to explore a little more. So that's when I started. So I used to follow a lot of these style YouTubers as a teenager to get like, because I was going into college and all of that. So that time we had to wear colored dresses.
What is a style YouTuber?
Like fashion and style YouTubers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So these guys. So all those style tips I was taking and implementing, and Instagram was also a thing back then. So I'm like, okay, let me take photos of myself and post it, and write one proper caption. But yeah, and then some people actually liked it. A few acquaintances here and there. So I just kept doing it, and I liked aesthetics. I liked, looking at a shot, setting up a shot. That stimulated me creatively a little bit. And so I did that. In fact, in my initial days, I would create a fashion content only. Then
Fashion content.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I started dabbling into.
So how to style yourself better and everything.
Those kind of videos. But then that didn't pick up, and then you hit a saturation point with that also. So then I thought I was also into like improving myself, developing myself as a person. So whatever I learned, I would share with my videos, and that gave me, a kind of a parallel. But growth wasn't there as well. But then I'm very happy I did that, because that whole process taught me things like framing of a camera.
Okay.
Aesthetics.
So do you think he's done a good job on your framing?
I didn't see it, but I'm pretty sure he's done a good job.
I hope so.
If you haven't, then I don't know what. He's done a lot of work in framing.
I think we can take some tuitions later.
But-
Tell me.
Like the small things, like framing, setting up a camera,
Okay.
editing, proper editing, storyline, writing,
Okay.
and then and also I kind of became a content nerd, like studying the journey of other YouTubers, like just for a source of inspiration.
Lovely, man.
And that kind of made me a little bit of a nerd, of the platforms, of the internet, of how, content has evolved, all of that. And then I'm like, see, this isn't working, but one thing that you have is you like the process of creation, you like storytelling. Start telling stories. So July last year, that's when I made up my mind to, just keep this as my niche, try it out.
Okay.
So initially it didn't get the numbers.
What was the first video you ever made?
In my life?
No, like after you made this decision of.
I really don't know, because the transition was so quick, but I guess.
Do you remember the topic?
I guess it was something about brand storytelling, about how Cred as a brand,
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, their ads. I deleted that video later because I wasn't proud of it, but that was one of the first videos I made in this niche. And then after that, I slowly devoted my time to this, and eventually no views. But then later I made a video about condoms, the history of condoms.
And how many views did you get?
That got 20,000 views. So I'm like, okay, fine. This has picked up. There is something people want to watch, interesting content. So let me make
people
videos.
want to watch stories about condoms.
Yeah, I mean, that's how content is, right? Like sex sells, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, let's make a few more videos on this topic. So then I made a video about a condom ad that did well on YouTube Shorts.
Okay.
So
what was the video about, boss? Like, what did you talk about condoms?
So the first one was like the history of condoms, how they were made, how the vulcanization of rubber was the main reason.
But who figured this out? Even I don't know.
Charles Goodyear.
So what he figured that he has to put like
He,
a rubber on his.
no, not condoms per se, but vulcanization of rubber, technique to make rubber stronger.
Okay.
All of that. So he figured that out, and then they started, using that technique to make better contraceptives. And that was one video. And then I made another video about a condom ad, a Durex ad, which was very ingenious actually. So the ribs on the pavement, right? Pavements, footpaths, they have these ribs.
Yeah.
So to market that Durex with ribs condom, they just drew a condom around those ribs, and then they put their branding.
Wow.
And that was their ad. Like, I love that story, how they came up with that and all. And so I said that on YouTube. I put that on YouTube Shorts. It did well. And then I'm like, okay, people like stories. It's not like they don't like it. And then some people also said, wow, your editing is good, this, that. So I'm like, okay, this is
people
what...
are really invested. Like, especially like catchy stories.
Yeah.
I think there are people who love spending time listening to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you said, they love spending time listening to them, and it's kind of stimulation to their brain. Kept doing it, made a few stories about Bangalore. So that I can't explain how that idea came. It just came very intuitively to me. That you've tried everything. Start making stories about Bangalore. Let's see how it goes. Made a video about MTR. It went viral.
Of course.
Because Bangalore, people love Bangalore.
Yeah. There's a huge fan base for it.
Exactly. So it got that virality. Then I'm like, okay, this is good. And that got me from, I would say, 1,300 followers to 1,700 followers.
You got like 400 followers.
Yeah, within 2 weeks because of that
Credits
video.
to MTR.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was like, okay, let's make one more. And what I did was, I was in that zone of, you know what, let's make one more and let's just do it exactly the same way. So similar hook, similar pacing, and similar edit, except the story was about Blossom's Book House. And then within the first 2 hours, 100,000 views.
What are you saying?
I was like shocked. And then I reached like 2K followers within the first couple of hours. I was very happy. I wake up, 3K, 4K. And then within like 2 weeks, I jumped to 10,000 followers just because of that one video.
Because of the Blossom's
Book House video. And then I was like, okay, this is the kind of content I'm going to make. People like stories about localized stories more. So let me just stick to that. Made those videos. Now I'm at 20K. Like the growth, even though it skyrocketed, there's always a plateau. So I'm at 20K now. That's also because of my intent has not been up to the mark right now. Because again, a lot of things are happening in other aspects of my life, like with master's applications and stuff. But I know that once I get my mojo going, I will get back.
We'll just get back into the Instagram thing in a bit because I wanted to discuss a few things. But just going back, right? Like, so were you always confident in front of the camera, or was it like a learned thing?
I was confident to stand in front of the camera.
Yeah.
But I was not confident. I was not skilled enough to speak freely in front of the camera. So I mean, I never shied. If there was a camera, I never shied away from talking. But initially, I was a little stiff. I would break here and there.
Yeah.
All of that. But then with time, that changes, and then you become a little more natural.
And do you think your talent was more towards the research or more towards how you presented it?
Presentation and storytelling.
What needed more work?
I think naturally presentation and storytelling came to me naturally.
But the research needed?
Research also, I wouldn't say it came to me naturally. So I did a degree in physics. And in college, I did a lot of model UNs.
You've had your background in terms of how deep dive, how much you got to deep dive into something to really pick out of it. So I understand the combination now. How did you start picking these topics? Like, I understand, like, why I ask you this is, it's easy to say, what, a condom ad works, so let me do that. But it's also like this thing of, okay, what is the content that I want to like make, right?
True.
What is the content that I care for? Like, I understand, like, the Bangalore ads work, like the localized Bangalore stories work, the condom ads work. But what is the type of content that pulls you? That's what I want to kind of...
Interesting. So the kind of content that pulls me, I would say is something that has heritage to it, some sort of heritage to it.
Okay.
That really interests me. Or something that has an idea behind it, like Blossom's Book House, how he wanted to sell books in to pay for his engineering.
Okay.
So things like that. And Blossom also has a heritage element, right? It's heritage to Bangalore now, pretty much. So things like that, where like it has a visual story as well. MTR has this visual story. If you think of MTR, you think of like that old kind of seating area with servers.
So heritage is something.
Heritage, yeah.
In this journey of creation of content, while you did your research and when you this journey of posting videos, analyzing it, and of course it's just a start, and there's a long way to go for you. Have you realized that it requires a lot of time to be spent by yourself? There's a lot of alone time that you need. Now, do you enjoy that? Yes or no? Second, how important is that isolation for this creative process to kick off?
I'm glad you asked me that question. So, man, like you need a lot of alone time. It does get alone, and so for the longest time I was okay with it and I was very happy with it. But after a point, it just gets to you. I've been very grateful to have friends also. So up until recently, I would spend a lot of time with my friends. But now we all have gotten busy because life, right? Like that time also it was during the pandemic. So we were all at home. But now everyone's pretty much gotten busy because we all have our own things to do. So we don't spend much time. I feel that is why it's kind of getting to me now, and I'm not embracing the time alone as I used to before, because now it's mostly alone time only now. Because because life happens, people are busy, we all are busy, and then when you're free, someone else is busy, so you end up sitting alone. So I feel it's very important to actually have that balance.
Balance is a little I feel like it's an ideal situation that doesn't exist, right? Because to be honest to you, right? So this is how things have been for me. Like now with the podcast itself, over time, it has demanded more time from me. Like every time we want to step up something, like right now, one thing we've been trying to step up is, say, for example, the audio quality, right? Honestly, we weren't so proud of the type of audio we were getting out of this. So over the last, say, 10-15 days, we've been trying to spend time on bettering it. As soon as there's a need from your creative side, it needs more time. And immediately I've realized that it's also going to require more alone time from you. And I feel like the whole creative process is so, it's like a rabbit hole. Once you get into it, there's no coming out of it. As much as you want to strike that balance, you can, but I think if you don't go off balance, there's nothing great you're going to get out of it. Because I feel like to get something great out of your creative side, there is this imbalance that will anyway happen. And I think trying to create this balance will average out your creative effort. And that's just the truth. And that's just how it is.
I guess so.
Yeah. And and that's why it gets important, right? That's why it gets important in terms of what you're choosing to do when you're by yourself. Because if you're chasing a creative pursuit, now why are you chasing that creative pursuit? If you're chasing that creative pursuit to impress someone else, chances are you're going to burn out at some point. But if you're chasing that creative pursuit because your heart calls out for it, you're anyway going to enjoy it. So maybe you're not going off balance anyway, because you're enjoying it at the end of the day.
True.
Right? And here's where I'm getting at. Now, there are two types of content creators. One, who create because they love creating. One, because it gets them clout. Right? The way I see it, you're doing this because you love doing it. But a lot of people started because they love doing it. And then they became the ones who make content that only goes viral and not content they love. Right? So how do you look at this whole journey? Like, there will be a time where you'll go from a 20K to a 100K.
Yeah.
I mean, at least we think of it like that, and I'm sure you believe the same. How do you feel that growth is going to be for you? Are you always going to stick to your roots, or will the weight of creating content that only goes viral get on you?
I think to a degree it has got on me.
Yeah.
Recently.
Wow, what are
Yeah.
you saying, boss? Really?
Yeah, like to a degree it has got on me, because so I've been creating pieces that I really want to create for the last 3 months.
Okay.
None of them did as well, but I make another video about Bangalore, does really well.
So talk to me about that. How does that make you feel?
Like it honestly makes me feel very puzzled, like what should I do, sometimes.
Yeah.
I want to create this, and then there's so little you can talk about Bangalore, right? I mean, I'm sure there are many stories, but you can't you'll exhaust it. You need to find another way, right?
Yeah. There's only so many MTRs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I can't make MTR part 2 because there's only one MTR.
Yeah.
So it kind of gets to you, which is why I haven't been creating much recently.
Yeah. It's gotten to you.
Yeah, it has.
Wow.
But then I'm sure I'll come out of this phase. It's just a phase. I know that.
Yeah.
But I'll come out of this phase, and I'm glad that it's happened now.
Yeah.
At this stage.
Yeah.
Because let's say everything goes well, I go to such a high,
Yeah.
and then I reach a stage like this.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a early learning, and I'm glad I caught it early.
Yeah.
So that
Because have you noticed there are so many creators on Instagram today? See, you got this hit and you jumped to 20K. Today you're at 19K or rather 20, right? People have got like 100K hits. Like suddenly they're at 100K followers. Suddenly 150K followers. And they are in this phase. They're like, shit. Now does it mean that I only have to create content that went viral? Like why can't I just create the stuff
True.
that I woke up one morning and I felt like
Yeah, absolutely.
creating. And people are really stuck in that zone. So there are certain now slightly turning this into how Instagram functions today, right? Now there are reels of yours that have hit like millions of views. There are reels of yours that are at like a 2,000 3,000 view. Is there, I mean, apart from making viral content, what are those things that you keep in mind to ensure that a reel works in terms of your content?
So one thing that I have observed is every time I write, so let's say I write a line like, my name is Ahan. So I need to write with the intent of the next line, that line should spark some sort of curiosity in the viewer to continue staying on. So each line should spark a sense of curiosity in the viewer. So if I write with that intent, I'm sure the retention will be good. And more often than not, it has proved to be like that.
So you write every single thing before you shoot it?
Yeah.
Like every
Twice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And how long, what is the process? How long does it take for you to come out with a new video?
So when I was at my peak, I could produce a new video like every other day. I would research and write. So morning research, evening write. It used to be like that. Okay. But now, because of all these thoughts about what should I post, that, it's kind of taken a step back. But yeah, at my peak it was like that. At my best.
What's the other part of your vision? I mean, in terms of the creative journey you're having, what are certain things that you want to be able to accomplish in your life?
Creatively?
Yeah.
I would want to build, one proper internet channel across platforms that, people watch, follow, and monetize it. They're like a community where I put out a product, people want to buy it, build that kind of community through the internet. That is one thing I'm looking at, and just through the power of content.
People can upload stuff?
No. So my own channel, like my own channel across platforms.
Okay.
So Instagram, YouTube, across platforms, a strong social media presence basically.
Okay.
Where and a strong community where, let's say I have a product to sell and I can monetize it like a business basically. Sell a product, not just rely on brand deals. Selling a product,
Okay. And
courses.
what are these products that you want to make?
I mean, I'm definitely sure merchandise will be one thing.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
Like for a sense of community.
But I'm saying for the benefit of the community what is it that
to make them feel like they're a part of something, right? Like there's this YouTube channel Yes Theory.
Okay.
So they do crazy shit like climbing a helicopter and bungee jumping through it with Will Smith, like things like that, or taking a stranger to see the Northern Lights.
Okay.
And they have this tagline called "Seek Discomfort."
Okay.
And using that tagline, they've created merchandise, minimal and just that seek discomfort thing. And that whole community wants to buy it because they believe in that feeling.
They believe in that feeling.
So sell a product based on that feeling. That is something I would really like to look at.
What are some of those creators that you're closely following today and who have inspired you to
Yes
do what
Theory,
you're doing?
Yes Theory for sure. Nas Daily.
Okay.
Because he also has multiple products. He's built this huge community and he's just scaling at a huge pace. Which is very inspiring. Then Ranveer Allabadia.
Okay.
Beer Biceps. So he was, as a teenager, I would look up to him a lot. Now,
Why?
because of the drive he had. When I was 17, he was 24. So he was in his mid-20s and he was trying to make it big. And that time I was in the pursuit of finding myself and wanting to be motivated.
Got it.
And just seeing his drive, and he would share his journey through his videos. Back in the day, he would share like all his highs, lows, his learnings. And that really motivated me and inspired me. In fact, he made a video about how he went from being a college student to earning money through YouTube. This was just before he reached 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
And in that video, he said, I'm making this video so that one day one of you come and tell me that, I watched that video and I've made it big now here.
Okay.
So, yeah, that really motivated me. That one day I'll go and tell him, bro, I watched that video of yours. So,
Nice.
he has always been an inspiration. Other than that, there's a creator called Tirthak Saha from India.
Okay.
He also does. So he's the first person who did who started creating the content I create.
Okay.
So he's the first person who I feel in India who started the storytelling kind of content, and I just love the way he can tell a story. Which
There's
is
other
why
couple also, no?
Abhi and Neo.
Yeah.
I really look up to them too.
Yeah.
They themselves, they took that risk
Yeah.
by just focusing on their passion project early on.
Weren't they earlier than this guy, the guy you just mentioned?
But I wouldn't put them in the
I feel like
similar category.
Why not?
There is a slight
Do you belong to that category?
I actually don't know.
Okay.
So I don't know. So this niche
So
is
I'm
like
not saying on scale.
Yeah,
I'm saying the type of content.
this niche is little new.
Okay.
This kind of storytelling. But yeah, Abhi and Neo, they basically, so the kind of stories are also different, right?
You're saying the genre of stories.
The genre of stories per se.
So what's the difference? What is the difference between?
So Abhi and Neo talk mostly about, current events. And they also talk about their own self-improvement journeys.
Yeah.
Finance, all of that. But Tirthak talks more about like history, art, science,
Okay.
stories like that. Like not focused on current events per se, but more focused on things that happen in history, scientific advancements of the human race and why it affects us today, things like that. So that really inspired me. That really showed me a new kind of content that you can create.
Yeah, because I feel like when they started out, right, Abhi and New is what's her name?
Abhi is Abhiraj and Neo is Niyati.
Yeah, Abhi and New. When they started out, right, it was going viral pretty quick.
Yeah.
And they grew. I mean, the amount of content they put out was also a lot. I think they would put out pretty often. But it didn't get picked up that soon. I didn't see too many creators jumping on this. I feel like even you, right, doing this, I would have guessed that there's already like 100 creators doing this, but for some reason it hasn't picked up.
I feel it's also because maybe there are 100 creators doing this, but everyone has a different way to tell a story, right? Which is why I couldn't put Abhi and Neo and Tirthak in the same category. Maybe that's why. You know,
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah, yeah.
That's the thing about storytelling. Everyone has a different way to tell a story.
That's
So that if you can find your own style of storytelling, you can stand out.
okay. Another question about Instagram. As a platform for creators, how happy are you with it?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I have
Yeah.
no complaints. Touch wood. But yeah, I'm pretty. See, I'm the kind of person who doesn't like to complain about a platform because 10 years ago there was no platform, right?
Okay.
And now you
That's
have
nice.
so many platforms. So make most of it. And so see, Reels came out in 2020.
Yeah.
Before that, YouTube. And so the best time someone could be a YouTuber was from 2015 to 2017-18, because
Yeah.
that's when the geo boom happened and
24
YouTube.
Yeah, 2014, 2015, 2018. Yeah.
Yeah, the geo boom happened, all of that.
Everyone
And
who got in then really
yeah.
kind of blew up. Yeah.
yeah, and 2018 to 2020, it was kind of a lull period for YouTubers. It was difficult to grow on that platform because there was a lot of channels coming out and all. So people didn't know how to grow on social media. Then the lockdown happened. People were consuming content. Then Reels came up. TikTok, because of the TikTok boom, Reels came up in India.
Yeah.
Then people had more options. So if instead of complaining about the options, make most of the options you have now, and just work on the craft as much as you can. And in the end, you'll have another opportunity to really boom and grab that with both hands. So that's about it. And in the end of the day, it's about your longevity as a creator, right? Like how
Yeah.
long you can stay in the game.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what we also keep discussing, right? Irrespective of what platform you are on, I think if you have the right purpose and the vision for it, irrespective of the platform, you're anyway going to be in the game, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's Instagram today or something else tomorrow, you're anyway going to play the game. My only issue is how a lot of Instagram has glamorized promotions for creator content. Like they've pushed creators towards, say, sponsoring their content. You see a lot of small creators spending a lot of money
On ads?
on ads, right? And that's something I feel like, I don't know if it's the right way to go forward, which is why there are certain profiles that are at like 100K followers and their content is honestly like not that great and like amazing profiles, but maybe not spending that much on ads, are really behind on audience.
I mean, yeah, that is there, but I'm of the firm belief that if your content is bad, the audience will pick it up, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can have 100K followers and all,
Yeah.
but nobody will be watching.
Yeah.
But then, if your content is good, you will get that push. You will eventually do well.
Yeah.
And it's about just staying in that game and working on the craft for a while. And everyone will eventually get some sort of boom. It's a process, right? It's a phase. So once you got like some sort of boom, you have that confidence, you know what you've done. So it's about backing your guts and just sticking to it and going with the flow. And that's why I'm of the firm belief also, just don't focus on one thing in your life. If you're like content creation, look at other avenues, explore other avenues.
Let this just be a part of your life.
Exactly.
I mean, if it consumes your life and it's doing well for you, great.
Yeah.
But until it does like have like multiple avenues of things that you do in your life, and just don't depend on this to pay off.
Exactly.
Because you never know what the amount of variables are with this. So you're speaking about self-doubt, right? Now, this is something that I think a lot of people are going to face. What is your view on self-doubt?
Yeah, man. I mean, I also go through it a lot. But I believe just what worked best for me was creating with that little bit of self-doubt. But then, when I did that, with that little bit of self-doubt I created, I put it out, and then I would see videos not doing well. But then there was also a part of me that motivated myself. Okay, I'm going to create another video, do it much better. We'll see how it doesn't do well. That fire was there.
Yeah.
So that's how. So I'm the kind of person who has some sense of fire. Even if I'm at my lowest, there'll be some fire in me still burning.
Yeah.
So that's how I am as a person.
Yeah.
So it's about. So everyone is different. I mean, there's no one size fits all. But I know that everyone has something they're passionate about, something they believe in, or it doesn't have to be a passion per se, like drawing is my passion. It can be a feeling they're passionate about, or a message that they want to give, or some burning desire in them. So, I mean, if you're doubting yourself, allow yourself to go through that. But at the same time,
And
you know,
continue creating through the doubt.
Continue creating.
Just don't
through the
stop.
doubt. Yeah, just don't
right?
stop. Just
Because chances are you'll get motivated
yeah,
through that. You just got to stick around.
Yeah.
You just got to stick around.
Exactly.
How's your circle been in terms of responding to your content, your family, your friends, when you started making it to now? I mean, do they enjoy it? Do they watch it? Do they share it? How's it been?
So when I started, I had a lot of good friends when I started. But now but then later I saw, how a lot of people actually perceived me. Like when they saw me putting myself out there, they didn't like it. Or rather, they took it as...
Did you get judged?
I did a
You
lot.
get like good, like negative stuff from people saying, "What the fuck you up to?
A lot.
You're not good at this."
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm so grateful because the friends I have now, the people I hang out with now, I know they're my true friends. So it basically just filtered out people. So that is what...
So when you look at your story views, you know who's judging you.
Before, yes. Before, like now I can't keep track, but before, yes. And I knew, and then I would see certain stories were shared. And then when they were shared, they were viewed by people who I don't follow and who don't follow me. But they're friends with the people who I knew were judging me. So I knew, okay, so these guys have had a party today. So it's not like I could put 2 and 2 together. But then I was like, it's fine. I mean, people are going to judge you. No big deal. You want to do this for yourself, right? In the end, I feel... So initially when I was like 18, 19, that's when it would get to me. But after lockdown happened, everyone was at home. And then everyone kind of had these epiphanies of what really matters, right? During that lockdown.
Yeah.
So ever since then, I'm like, no, nobody cares. Fuck it. Exactly. Screw it.
Yeah.
Just do what you want to do because you're in your 20s now. You want to build a career and you want to, live a life that you believe in, right? That you want to, that, makes you happy every day because you've gone to a school or college which you never wanted to go to. So now you're in your 20s, you have that chance to do that.
Yeah.
So fuck it, do what you want to do, basically.
So what are you going abroad for? What are you studying?
Master of Science in Management.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're like a smart guy or what? Like you're brainy or what?
So I did an honors in physics, if that says anything. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm brainy. I have a sense
You're
of
giving me
curiosity.
very like Sundar Pichai vibes. So, like,
No.
very,
No, man. Like, I wouldn't say like... So, studies-wise, I was, not bad, but not like a topper either. I got by. But that's, again, the Indian standard. So, when I applied to universities recently, in the interviews, they're like, yeah, your grades seem pretty good. I'm like, really? They're good? Because in India, like, there's a huge... the standard is different, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
which is an unrealistic standard, I feel people said. So... yeah, I mean, initially academic validation was very important to me.
Okay.
But then later I kind of got rid of that and then got by. I didn't do too badly either. I did decently well. And what really interested me was my project work. When I did that, I was very interested and very invested in it, my final year project. So I wouldn't call myself brainy. I would call myself someone who's curious and, likes expanding his curiosity.
Lovely. So I think Ahan, this is pretty much what we wanted to get out of the episode, and I've always felt like if there's one ability that I have personally, it's to be able to like draw an image of a person with very little information.
Okay.
Right. And before I interview anyone, there's this good amount of imagery and perception that I have of a person, and you have like fit right into that.
Okay.
Right. So this is how I'm looking at it. Right. Like, I don't know. I have a feeling like content creation is just the beginning for you to create something else. Maybe over the years, content creation might not be the main thing you're doing. It'll still be part of your life. But I feel like you're on the road to create something bigger. And thanks for coming here, man.
Thank you so much for having
Thanks
me.
for coming here. I just want to end with like one question. Like if there's, I ask this very rarely these days, but I feel like I should ask you this. Like, I want you to advise your, say, 40-year-old self. Like if there's one message you want to give that guy.
To my older self?
Yeah,
Oh,
to your
shit.
older self, right? To your older self. Like, what is that one message? What's that one learning? Or what's that one thing you never want to stop telling yourself?
Okay.
Right? Like, what would that be?
Keep exploring avenues. Like, don't stop doing that. Keep exploring avenues. Keep upgrading yourself, and never stop doing that, because once you stop doing that, you'll stop feeling good about yourself completely. So just keep doing that.
Awesome, Ahan. So thank you for being here, man.
Thank you for having
This
me.
was great. Time flew by. We wish you a very best for, of course, you're going abroad to do your masters, and I think you're gonna meet a lot of interesting people there as well.
Absolutely.
And I think your content is also gonna change, because the type of people you're going to meet there are different. The type of stories you're going to come across are very different.
Maybe, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to what changes with your content creation game. But I'm glad we caught you at the right time
Same here, man. Same here.
before heading off.
Yeah.
All the best. I hope
Thank
you hit
you.
like 500K, 1 million followers,
Thank
and
you so
people
much.
get entertained by your content.
Thank you so much, man.
Thanks, Han. This was episode 52 of On a Personal Note with Adarsh Sakare. See you on the next one.